In this video, I want to go over a tool that Adobe has called Mixamo. As it says right here, Mixamo is a place that we can get free 3D animated characters for games. They have a few characters, like actual different models, but they have a ton of animations that we can use. So we're going to use Mixamo in this project because making animations is not really even what our major is about. So this is a great tool, and you'll probably find yourself using it for all your projects as it has a lot of animations in it. To start, you do need an account to log into Mixamo. And if we were to try and use our school account for some reason, so this is just my SCAD ID, it's not going to let me. It says company and school accounts are not supported. When you click learn more, it just takes you to their contact page. So I guess you have to ask them why it's not supported. Either way, it doesn't matter. The Adobe account is free, so just make one. Or like I did, just sign in using another account, either your Apple account or your Google account. So when we sign in, we're taken to this page, which has a bunch of animations. You could also possibly load into this characters page. We can switch between the tabs up here. And let me start with the characters page. Here we have a ton of characters. Mixamo has a lot of characters. And hopefully you guys will be able to find a character here that works for you. If we want to select a character, we just click it, click use character, and it's going to switch us to that character. You can see that by default, all these characters are in an A pose. I'm sorry, a T pose. That's because they are straight and their hands are to their sides. They look kind of like a T. So let me just select a character for me to show you it. I'm going to go back to Remy. This is the character I was using. Let's go to animations. Here we can see there are a bunch of animations. There's 52 pages of these. There are a lot of animations in Mixamo. We can click on an animation and it's just going to play it on our screen. We can see a preview of it. We can click on another one and we can see the preview. Each animation has some options we can edit on the side. So for example, this dancing animation has a style slider, and really you can just slide them around to see what it does. Usually it just makes the character either, usually these options make the character express themselves, in the animation more, or make them express themselves less. And this is good for us just customizing the animation a little bit before we download it. There is always an overdrive option, which just speeds up the animation. Or we can slow it down. And by default, for these values, usually 50 is the default value. There is also another option for the character arm spacing. So depending on the model you have, you might have a character whose torso is pretty wide. So this animation might actually clip through their torso. And we can increase the arm spacing to make them go further up. If I do it at 100, we can see it's much more exaggerated. And we can also pull it in if we happen to have like a stickman character that's super skinny. And, this just prevents we can use some of these options to prevent clipping from happening depending on the model that we're using. But most of the Mixamo animation should work perfectly fine if you are using a vaguely humanoid model. If their proportions are really off, then you probably could use some of these options to help look like it's not clipping. And then finally, there is an option to trim the frames. You usually want to leave this as is, because depending on the animation, if the animation loops perfectly and we trim it, then we're going to lose that looping option. So we usually want to leave this as is, but good to know this option's here. And finally, there's a mirror option, which is going to mirror it. But for animations that make us move, as you can see, this one's making him move forward. There's an in-place option, and that just plays the animation without that forward motion actually happening. When we have an animation that we like, we can hit the download button to download it. Real quick, I just want to show you before we download it. When we pick a character, we want to download them in the T pose first. So if I search pose, there is T pose right here. So this is going to be the default that we download them in. And when we hit download for this, we make sure it's an FBX. And we make sure the skin option is with skin. All the skin is this person, this skeletal mesh has some bones. That's what gives it the animation ability. And they have a mesh over them. We call the mesh a skin. So we want to download it with the mesh. After we have the T-pose animation, that's what we're going to upload into Unreal. Every other animation that we download, so if I was just maybe download this shoved reaction with spin, those I want to download those without the skin. It's okay if we download it with the skin. It's just much easier to implement if we don't. Because if we do it with the skin, then when we try and upload it into Unreal, it's going to also come in with a model, a mesh part, which we don't really need because we have the T-pose version of the mesh. So when we're downloading the animations without skin, that initial model we download with skin. Okay, so there are a ton of characters here, but what if you don't want one of these characters? What if you want to use your own character? Or maybe you find another character online. So one of the requirements is the character that you find needs to be in T-pose. It doesn't matter if they have a skeleton already or not. When we upload it, Mixamo is just going to override it and make its own skeleton. So real quick, let's just take a look at that. I have these 3 models here. I have Naruto FBX, I have a Fencer, and I have a Soldier. So Naruto and the Soldier are both FBX files. The Fencer is a GLB file. And I just want to show you that we need to either use an FBX or an OBJ file. If I click Upload Character, it says FBX, OBJ, or zip. If I try and upload my Fencer, after a little bit of processing, it's going to give me an error saying that's not possible. It says error mapping on mapping character, so it's an unexpected file type. So make sure when we download our models, they're either FBX or they're an OBJ. So let's just real quick open up Blender, and I have the Soldier and Naruto in here just to show you it's another difference that we have to spot when we're trying to find our own models online. This Soldier will work well. Ideally, we would want their we would want their center to be at their feet, but honestly, that'll work fine here. It might change our programming a little bit. So if you do find a model, put them into Maya. Make sure we take their model and we put the pivot on the feet. But for this one, it's fine because I'm just showing you. The other important thing is this model is in T-pose. Their arms are straight out. They're like a T. And Mixamo also prefers models whose fingers are spread apart. On the other hand, if I was to hide this entire model and unhide the Naruto model, Naruto is in what we call an A pose. Their hands are not parallel. Instead, they're kind of angled 45 degrees like this, and they look more like an A. Both their hands together kind of look like an A. This will work, but it's going to cause some issues, and again, depending on the model, it's going to cause different issues. And the other problem with Naruto is their hands are not spread open, but again, the A pose is going to cause issues, but it will work. So let's just real quick take a look at that. Let me start with the Soldier model. I'm going to copy Soldier FBX onto here, and it is going to take some time. First, it's going to upload, and then it's going to go ahead and process. After it's done processing, it's just going to give us a little screen. We can see our model here. We can rotate them if we need to, but this is fine. And we can hit next, and this brings us to the auto rigger. The auto rigger asks us a few questions. It asks us to place down where a couple things are. So this blue thing represents the chin, so I'm just going to put it on his chin. You can see that on the top right, we're giving a zoomed in view so we can be accurate with it. We want to place one on his wrists, elbows, knees, and the groin. Then we hit next, and the auto rigger is going to take some time. This is going to take a varying amount of time depending on your computer, but it's going to take some time, and it's going to rig our model up. When it's done, it's just going to proceed, and there you go. We can see there's our character. They applied some animation just to show it to us, and our character is rigged and animating great. We can continue. It's going to replace the character we selected with this new character. Do note that if you select a character again, it is going to replace this character. This character is not saved anywhere, so you'll have to re-upload them if you want to use them to get animations. Come in here, and we can go through the animations. Everything works for this character just fine. And so there you go. We used a custom character. Now let's take a look at the other character. Let's take a look at Naruto, who remembered they were in A pose. Same thing, we drag it over and it uploads. It's going to take a moment to process the whole thing. And when it's done, it's going to load them up. I'm not too sure why with Naruto it didn't ask us to rig it, but either way, we can see that it works kind of. The animations themselves work, but if we look at him, there's something really weird with their fingers. They're like bent outwards. Either way, so that's mainly the reason why when we look for models from outside sources, let's try and find them in T pose rather than A pose. And also, there is no 100% guarantee that they're going to work just right. If you're comfortable with modeling and you have a model that you really want to use, you could keep putting it into Mixamo, seeing how it looks, going back into your 3D software and editing it. Or, because we are more focused on programming in this project, just use something from Mixamo. Either way, this has been a quick tour of Mixamo and how to use it. Just one last thing to reiterate before we hop off, or before we stop this video. Remember, when we download the model, we want to download the T-pose first, and when we download the T-pose, we do that with skin. And for everything else, once we have the T-pose model in our engine, every other animation we download, we want to do that without skin. Thank you guys for watching.